Hello and welcome back to Too Lazy to Read. In today's deep dive, we're traveling back to the 12th century for a book that's part sharp social commentary, part spiritual diagnostic manual, and all about how the devil tricks us silly humans. I'm Nigel, your host and resident bookworm, and joining me is our ever-insightful co-host, Clara.
Hi everyone. I'm excited for this one. It's got philosophy, psychology, a bit of comedy, intentional or not, and a devilish theme. The Devil's Deceptions by Ibn al-Jawzi sounds like one of those titles where you think, oh boy, is this going to scare me straight? But knowing us, we'll have some fun with it too.
Definitely. So, The Devil's Deceptions, or in Arabic Talbis Iblis, is by Imam Ibn al-Jawzi, a famous scholar-preacher from Baghdad in the 12th century. He was known for being a great orator and writer, and also for not mincing words when calling out nonsense. This book is basically him pointing out all the sneaky ways the devil, Iblis, tricks people into false beliefs, bad habits, or just plain folly, all while they think they're doing the right thing. The phrase Talbis Iblis literally means the devil's trick of dressing up falsehood to look like truth. It's like spiritual camouflage, making a bad idea seem shiny and holy. Ibn al-Jawzi wrote this to shine the light of knowledge on those sneaky tricks so we won't fall for them.
It's a bit comforting, in a weird way, to know that even people in the 1100s were like, wow, humans can really fool themselves, let's talk about that. And who better to blame than the devil, right? But it's not just the devil made me do it. It's really about how we willingly buy into self-deception. Kind of a timeless psychological theme.
Exactly. He's using Iblis, or the devil, as a frame, but a lot of these deceptions are really about human nature, our ego, desires, fears, and how we rationalize stuff. Ibn al-Jawzi basically says Iblis can only succeed in the night of ignorance. If we stay ignorant or oblivious, the devil has a field day. But if the dawn of knowledge shines, poof, the devil's tricks are exposed. So consider this episode a little sunrise for the soul.
That's beautifully put, Nigel. Sunrise for the soul. I like it. Also, quick note, when we say devil, we're in the Islamic context, so Iblis is basically Satan. And Ibn al-Jawzi is coming from a very religious perspective, obviously. Our job is to break down his key points in a relatable way without turning it into a sermon. We'll focus on the human behaviours he critiques and find modern parallels, where appropriate, with a light touch. And don't worry, we're keeping it respectful. We can poke fun at human foibles, but not at sacred beliefs.
Well said. Now, the book itself is structured kind of like a field guide to human self-delusion, categorized by different groups of people. Ibn al-Jawzi walks through how the devil's deception plays out for each group. Scholars, worshippers, rulers, common folk, you name it. We're going to follow that structure. So here's our game plan for this deep dive. First, the scholars, the learned bookworms and experts, and how knowledge can go to their heads or lead them astray. Spoiler. Knowing 100,000 hadiths doesn't help if you can't remember how to pray properly. Then, the rulers, the political leaders and authorities of the 12th century, and the unique temptations of power. Think ego trips, paranoia, and a penchant for yes-men. Next is the worshippers and ascetics, the devout, pious folks, from your everyday religious practitioners to the hardcore hermits, and how even zealous worship can veer off track. Then the Sufis, or mystics, the spiritual adventurers seeking closeness to God with their own mystical practices. Ibn al-Jawzi has a lot to say about them, dancing, trances, and questionable shortcuts to piety. And finally, the common people, everyone else, the average Joes and Janes of the 12th century. This includes lay people who might not be scholars or monks, but have their own set of delusions. Even the womenfolk get a special mention. We'll see how everyday habits and assumptions can be fertile ground for deception.
Wow, he really didn't leave anyone out, did he? Equal opportunity critique.
Pretty much. If you're human, you're on the list. Now keep in mind, Ibn al-Jawzi is writing in his context, 12th century Baghdad and the broader Muslim world of that time.